Get out. Take your bastard and get out of my house. Lucas Thornfield's voice sliced through the thunder as he hurled Maya's suitcase onto the rain-soaked driveway, her clothes spilling out like wounded birds onto the flooding pavement. Maya clutched their 3-day-old daughter against her chest, the newborn's frightened wails piercing through the downpour. Lucas, please. Olivia is your daughter. She's still on medication from the hospital. We have nowhere to go. The rain plastered Maya's hospital-pale face, mixing with tears she refused to let him see. Behind Lucas, a shadow moved in the doorway. Cassandra, with her predatory smile, twirling her blood-red fingernail through Lucas's belt loop. The baby looks nothing like you, Lucas. I told you she's been cheating. Why else would she disappear for hours claiming to visit a sick grandmother? Lightning illuminated Lucas's face, once so loving, now twisted with contempt. 6 months of your lies while you spread your legs for someone else. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Maya's phone buzzed in her pocket. The 5th call from her grandmother's attorney since she'd signed the inheritance papers 3 hours ago. The papers transferring Harrington Global Enterprises, valued at $2.8 billion, entirely into her name. Papers she'd planned to show Lucas over the celebration dinner she'd prepared before finding Cassandra in their bed. You'll regret this, Maya whispered, the words nearly lost in the storm as she backed away, shielding little Olivia from the lashing rain with her own body. Lucas sneered. The only thing I regret is wasting 5 years with a worthless liar like you. As the door slammed, Maya stood trembling in the deluge, her postpartum body aching, her world shattered. But beneath the pain, something else stirred, a cold, clear resolve forming like ice in her veins. The baby whimpered against her chest, and Maya pressed her lips to her daughter's forehead. It's all right, little one, she murmured. Mommy just became the most powerful woman in the city, and Daddy just made the biggest mistake of his life. Thunder cracked overhead as Maya Harrington Thornfield, the new CEO of a billion-dollar empire, walked away from the suburban prison where she played the role of dutiful wife for the last time. Behind her, through the bedroom window, Cassandra raised a champagne glass in victory, unaware that she had just helped create her own destruction. What happens when the woman you discarded like trash returns as your most powerful adversary? And how does a new mother transform overnight from victim to vengeance? If your heart is already racing, drop a comment with what you think Maya should do next. Subscribe now for a revenge story that will leave you breathless with every twist and turn. Maya Harrington had never told Lucas who she really was. Huddled in her car 2 blocks from what had been her home for 5 years, Maya rocked Olivia gently while rain hammered against the windows. The newborn had finally stopped crying, her tiny fist curled around Maya's finger as if it were the only anchor in a world gone mad. What do we do now, little one? Maya whispered, her voice hoarse from crying. The answer came in the form of her phone's insistent buzzing. The caller ID read Franklin Walsh, her grandmother Eleanor's attorney for over 40 years. Maya, where are you? I've been calling for hours. Franklin's distinguished voice carried notes of genuine concern. Your grandmother's board is in crisis mode. Vultures are already circling. We need you at Harrington Tower immediately. Maya glanced at her sleeping daughter. Franklin, I just gave birth 3 days ago. And my husband? Her voice faltered. Lucas threw me out. He thinks I've been unfaithful. The silence on the other end spoke volumes before Franklin cleared his throat. I never approved of that marriage. Eleanor was right about him. Maya closed her eyes, remembering her grandmother's warning 5 years ago. He looks at you and sees a pretty schoolteacher, darling. If he knew you were Harrington, he'd see dollar signs instead. Maya had been determined to be loved for herself, not her family's fortune. A fortune she'd rejected to live a normal life with the charming architect who'd swept her off her feet. I have nowhere to go, Franklin. Nonsense. The penthouse at Harrington Plaza is ready. I've sent a security team to your location. They should be arriving any moment. As if summoned by his words, 2 black SUVs pulled up alongside her modest sedan. A woman in a tailored suit emerged, unfazed by the downpour, and approached with a respectful nod. Ms. Harrington? I'm Diana Chun, head of Harrington Security. We're here to escort you and your daughter home. Home. The word felt foreign now. Across town, Lucas Thornfield poured himself another whiskey, his third since Maya had disappeared into the storm. Something uncomfortable twisted in his gut. Regret? Guilt? You pushed it away. You did the right thing, Cassandra purred, her arms snaking around his waist from behind. She was using you, Lucas. I found the evidence. The evidence had been text messages to someone named Eleanor about meeting in secret, about the future of the company and what happens after. Cassandra had discovered them 2 months ago, planting seeds of doubt that had bloomed into full-blown paranoia during Maya's increasingly frequent absences. Lucas knocked back his drink. 5 years. 5 years I gave her everything, and she repays me by getting pregnant with another man's child. Cassandra tensed slightly. You're sure the baby isn't yours? Maya and I hadn't been intimate for months before she announced the pregnancy. The admission stung his pride. She said she wanted to reconnect, but I was working 18-hour days trying to land the Richardson contract. What Lucas didn't say was how he'd begun pushing Maya away long before Cassandra entered the picture. His resentment growing as his architectural firm struggled, while Maya seemed perfectly content with her modest teacher salary. His dreams had always been bigger, design revolutionary buildings, become wealthy, powerful. Maya's simplicity had once charmed him. Later, it frustrated him. Well, Cassandra smiled, her lips against his neck. Now you can focus on us. On your career. She guided him toward the bedroom. Their bedroom now. Imagine what we could accomplish together. My connections in real estate. Your architectural genius. As Cassandra's hands worked to dissolve his discomfort, Lucas tried to ignore the image of Maya standing in the rain, protecting the child he'd rejected from the storm. The Harrington Plaza penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of the most exclusive building in the city. Maya had visited only a handful of times since rejecting her inheritance at 22, choosing independence over wealth. Now, as the elevator doors opened directly into the vast living area, Maya felt like an imposter despite the Harrington blood flowing through her veins and through Olivia's. Your grandmother kept this place ready for you, Diana explained, directing staff who appeared with Maya's hastily packed suitcase. The nursery was completed last month per her instructions. Maya followed Diana through the penthouse to a room that stole her breath. A perfect nursery with a hand-painted mural of an enchanted forest, a custom cherrywood crib, and every comfort a newborn could need. She knew, Maya whispered. Grandmother knew I'd need this. Eleanor Harrington left nothing to chance, Diana confirmed. The doctor will be here within the hour to check on you and Olivia. Left alone in the nursery, Maya gently placed her sleeping daughter in the crib. The contrast between their desperate flee in the storm and this sanctuary of privilege wasn't lost on her. For 5 years, Maya had played the role of ordinary schoolteacher Maya Thornfield, hiding her identity as the sole heiress to the Harrington fortune. She'd wanted Lucas to love her for herself, not her inheritance. The irony cut deep. He'd thrown her away, never knowing who she really was. Her grandmother Eleanor had built Harrington Global Enterprises from a small real estate office into a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate spanning real estate, technology, and media. The formidable woman had died 3 weeks ago, just as Maya entered her final month of pregnancy. I'm leaving everything to you, my darling, Eleanor had said during their last visit, when Maya had finally introduced her to Lucas after years of keeping her world separate. Not because you're my only living relative, but because you have something rare, compassion without weakness. Eleanor's assessing gaze had swept over Lucas that day, measuring him in seconds. Later, she'd squeezed Maya's hand and whispered, Remember, love without respect is like a house without a foundation. It cannot stand. Maya had dismissed her grandmother's concerns. Now, those words haunted her. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Franklin Walsh entered, carrying a leather portfolio and the weight of decades of Harrington legal strategies. Maya, he said gently, I know this is overwhelming, but there are decisions that can't wait. Harrington Global needs its CEO. Maya looked down at her daughter, then out at the glittering cityscape visible through floor-to-ceiling windows. Somewhere out there, Lucas was celebrating her departure, believing he'd discarded a worthless burden. Franklin, Maya said, her voice finding new strength. Prepare the paperwork. Effective immediately. I'm taking control of Harrington Global. Franklin's eyebrows rose slightly. And Lucas? Should we prepare a settlement offer? Maya's expression hardened, her grandmother's steel entering her spine. No, Lucas made his choice in the rain tonight. Now he can watch what happens when a Harrington woman rises. As if sensing her mother's transformation, little Olivia opened her eyes the exact shade of Eleanor Harrington's legendary gaze. Maya took it as a sign. First thing tomorrow, I want a complete overview of all Thornfield architecture projects and clients, Maya instructed, surprising herself with her commanding tone. And find out everything you can about Cassandra Porter. Franklin's expression shifted from concern to something like admiration. Welcome back, Miss Harrington. For the first time since the storm, Maya felt something beyond pain, a sense of purpose crystallizing from the wreckage of her shattered life. What happens when the discarded wife becomes the most powerful player overnight? Comment below with your predictions and subscribe to see how Maya transforms from heartbroken mother to formidable CEO in the next chapter of this riveting revenge story. The Richardson Tower project is in jeopardy, Franklin reported as Maya entered the Harrington Global boardroom 3 weeks later. Thornfield Architecture is struggling to secure financing after their primary investor pulled out. Maya paused, the name triggering an avalanche of memories. The Richardson Tower, Lucas's obsession for the past year, the career-defining project he'd prioritized over their marriage, over her pregnancy. Interesting timing, she remarked, settling into the chair at the head of the gleaming conference table. 12 of the company's most senior executives watched her with expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed skepticism. At 32, Maya was decades younger than most of them, with no business experience to speak of. What they didn't know was that Eleanor Harrington had been preparing her granddaughter since childhood. Not with formal business training, but through chess matches, strategy discussions, and bedtime stories about corporate takeovers instead of princesses. The Richardson family is getting nervous, continued Franklin. They're considering other firms. Maya studied the portfolio before her. And Harrington Global owns the land the tower would be built on, correct? Yes. Your grandmother acquired it last year through a shell company. Lucas Thornfield has no idea who really owns it. A hushed tension fell over the room as understanding dawned on the executives' faces. This wasn't just business, it was personal. Maya closed the folder. Schedule a meeting with the Richardsons. Today. Lucas Thornfield stared at his office phone in disbelief. What do you mean they're reviewing other options? We're 3 weeks away from breaking ground. The Richardson representative's voice remained professionally detached. I'm afraid there are concerns about financing. However, the family has requested you join them for dinner tonight at the Kingsley. The owner of the property will be present. Perhaps a direct conversation might resolve these complications. Lucas hung up, panic rising in his throat. The Richardson Tower was supposed to be his masterpiece, his entry into the elite circle of world-renowned architects. Without it, his firm faced bankruptcy, a reality he'd hidden from everyone, even Cassandra. Speaking of whom, Cassandra breezed into his office, shopping bags dangling from her arms. I used your credit card for just a few essentials, she announced, dropping into his leather chair. This office needs a woman's touch if we're going to impress the right people. Lucas barely heard her. The Richardson deal is falling apart. Cassandra's smile faltered slightly before recovering. That's actually perfect timing. Daddy's friends at Westridge Development have been asking about you. They build luxury condos, not as prestigious as your precious tower, but much more profitable. I don't need your father's handouts. Lucas snapped, his pride stinging. Since Maya's departure, Cassandra had gradually revealed her true nature. calculating, materialistic, with an entitled expectation that Lucas would fulfill her expensive tastes. Don't be silly, darling. Everyone needs connections. She examined her manicure. Have you filed the divorce papers yet? My lease ends next month, and this commuting back and forth is getting tedious. Lucas rubbed his temples. I've been busy trying to save my company. And what about finding Maya? Have your investigators discovered anything? We need to make sure she doesn't try to claim alimony or she's disappeared. Lucas interrupted. No credit card activity, no cell phone use. It's like she vanished into thin air with the baby. A flicker of unease crossed Cassandra's face. The baby that isn't even yours. So you keep reminding me. Lucas turned to the window, a hollow feeling expanding in his chest. In quiet moments increasingly rare with Cassandra's constant presence, he found himself wondering about the child, about Maya. Maya, who had never asked for anything in their 5 years together, who had taught underprivileged children with a passion that once inspired him, who had looked at him through the rain with eyes that held not hatred, but a resolve he couldn't understand. The dinner with the Richardsons is at 8, he said, changing the subject. You should wear the black dress. Cassandra smiled triumphantly. I'll make sure they see exactly what a power couple we are. The Kingsley was the city's most exclusive restaurant, where reservations were booked months in advance, unless your name was Harrington. Maya entered wearing a cream silk suit that concealed the last vestiges of her pregnancy, her grandmother's emeralds at her throat. Diana Chun shadowed her, while a private nurse remained in the limousine with sleeping Olivia. Mrs. Richardson, Maya greeted the matriarch of the Richardson family. Thank you for arranging this on such short notice. Eleanor's granddaughter needs no appointment, the older woman replied warmly. Although I must say, your message was quite intriguing. You're proposing to salvage the tower project. With modifications, Maya confirmed as they were seated in the restaurant's private dining room. Harrington Global is prepared to provide complete financing, but with a new design approach. Mrs. Richardson leaned forward with interest. And the architect? To be determined, Maya replied. But I have someone exceptional in mind. The conversation paused as the restaurant's manager approached their table. Miss Harrington, I apologize for the interruption, but the other party has arrived. Shall I seat them now? Maya's heart hammered against her ribs, but her voice remained steady. Yes, please show them in. The doors opened, and Lucas entered with Cassandra clinging to his arm. His confident stride faltered when he spotted Maya, his face draining of color as if he'd seen a ghost. Maya, his voice cracked. Hello, Lucas. Maya remained seated, the calm center of a storm about to break. I believe you know Mrs. Richardson. I'm not sure if you've been properly introduced to me, however. She extended her hand with regal composure. Maya Harrington, CEO of Harrington Global Enterprises, owner of the property you're so eager to build upon. Lucas stared at her outstretched hand, incomprehension giving way to dawning horror. Harrington? But you're a school teacher? Maya's smile held no warmth. That was my career, yes. Being a Harrington is my birthright. Cassandra's perfectly manicured nails dug into Lucas's arm. What is this? Some kind of joke? No joke, Mrs. Richardson interjected, clearly enjoying the drama. The Harringtons have been city royalty for generations. Eleanor was a dear friend of mine. She turned to Maya with newfound respect. Though she never mentioned her granddaughter had married an architect, Lucas sank into a chair, reality crashing down around him. All this time, Maya confirmed, I wanted to be loved for myself, not my family's money. Ironic, isn't it? You threw away the fortune you so desperately wanted because you couldn't see what was right in front of you. The calculated cruelty of her words, so unlike the Maya he'd known, jolted Lucas. The baby is upstairs with her nurse. Maya cut him off. Your daughter, despite what your mistress convinced you to believe. Cassandra's face contorted. You're lying. This is some elaborate revenge fantasy. Maya opened her portfolio and slid a document across the table. DNA test results. I had them done the day after you threw us into the storm. Olivia Eleanor Thornfield, 100% your child, Lucas. As the color drained from Lucas's face, Maya turned back to Mrs. Richardson. Now, shall we discuss the future of Richardson Tower? I have some remarkable new concepts to share. In that moment, as Lucas watched his estranged wife command the room with effortless authority, the magnitude of his mistake crashed over him like a tidal wave. He hadn't just lost his wife. He had lost his child, his project, and quite possibly his future. And Maya was just getting started. Will Lucas fight to reclaim what he thoughtlessly discarded? Can Maya balance her new power with her wounded heart? Comment below with your predictions and subscribe to see how this riveting story of betrayal and revenge unfolds in the next chapter. The Harrington Global Executive Suite underwent a transformation that matched its new occupant. Gone were Eleanor's austere antiques, replaced by a modern balance of power and warmth. One wall dedicated to architectural drawings, another to a live video feed of the nursery, where Olivia napped under her nurse's watchful eye. The Richardson contract is officially ours, Diana reported, placing the signed documents on Maya's desk. Lucas Thornfield's firm has been removed as lead architect. Maya nodded, ignoring the conflicting emotions stirring beneath her composed exterior. And the other matters? We've acquired controlling interest in Westridge Development, Cassandra's father's company. Diana's expression remained professional despite the ruthlessness of the move. He doesn't know yet. The paperwork will hit his desk tomorrow morning. And the audit of Thornfield Architecture? Complete. Diana handed over a thick folder. The firm is leveraged to the breaking point. Lucas has been using his personal assets to cover payroll for months. Maya's fingers stilled on the folder. Lucas had been struggling financially while she believed his late nights were spent with Cassandra. Not that it justified his betrayal, but it added another layer to a picture growing increasingly complex. There's something else, Diana hesitated. The private investigator's report on Cassandra Porter. You should see this immediately. Maya scanned the document, her eyes widening. Are these records verified? Triple-checked. Cassandra has done this before, 3 times. She targets promising professionals isolated from family support systems. 2 divorces and 1 broken engagement, all following the same pattern. Maya leaned back, processing this revelation. Cassandra wasn't just an opportunistic mistress. She was a calculated predator. Should we leak this to Lucas? Diana asked. No. Maya closed the file decisively. He made his choice. Let him discover her true nature without our help. As Diana left, Maya turned to the window overlooking the city. Her city now. In 3 weeks, she'd taken control of her grandmother's empire with surprising natural ability, earning reluctant respect from even the most skeptical board members. Yet each night, she returned to a penthouse that felt both like a sanctuary and a prison, where she cradled Olivia and battled the persistent ache of betrayal. Success was her armor, but underneath, Maya Harrington was still healing from becoming Maya Thornfield's discarded wife. Her intercom buzzed. Ms. Harrington, Mr. Thornfield is in the lobby, demanding to see you. Maya's pulse quickened. Send him up. Lucas had never felt smaller than when stepping into the Harrington Global Headquarters. The sleek tower, one of the city's architectural marvels, had always represented old money, old power. Power he'd coveted while unwittingly sleeping beside its heiress for 5 years. Ms. Harrington will see you now, the receptionist announced, her emphasis on Maya's maiden name a subtle twist of the knife. When the elevator doors opened directly into the executive suite, Lucas found himself facing a version of his wife he'd never known existed. Maya sat behind an imposing desk, hair swept into an elegant chignon, wearing a tailored suit that exuded authority. Only the slight shadows beneath her eyes hinted at the new mother behind the executive facade. Lucas. Her voice was cool, controlled. To what do I owe this intrusion? He faltered, his prepared speech evaporating. You've destroyed my firm. Correction, I withdrew from a business arrangement with a company that proved unreliable. Maya remained seated, forcing Lucas to stand before her like a supplicant. The Richardson Tower will proceed with Astor and Associates as lead architects. Astor. Lucas's face flushed. They're my biggest competitors. They're also the best in the business. Grandmother always said, never sacrifice quality for personal vendetta. Maya finally stood, emphasizing her next words. Unlike throwing a postpartum woman and newborn into a thunderstorm, business decisions shouldn't be emotional. Lucas flinched. I want to see Olivia. Interesting. 3 weeks ago, you called her a bastard and claimed she wasn't yours. I was wrong. The admission seemed torn from him. The DNA test confirmed what I always knew. Maya's composure cracked slightly. 5 years together, Lucas. 5 years. And you believed I would betray you? That I would lie about our child? Cassandra showed me evidence, and you chose to believe your mistress over your wife. Maya pressed a button, and a security officer appeared instantly. We're done here. Mr. Thornfield is leaving. Maya, please. Lucas stepped toward her, desperation edging his voice. I made a terrible mistake. If you just let me explain. Explain? Maya's laugh held no humor. While you were escorting me to Lama's classes, were you already sleeping with her? When I was hospitalized with preeclampsia, were you texting her from my bedside? Please explain that chronology to me. The direct questions left Lucas speechless. The truth that Cassandra had entered his life only after months of growing distance between him and Maya seemed pathetically inadequate now. That's what I thought. Maya nodded to the security officer. See him out. She's destroying us. Cassandra hurled a crystal vase against the wall of Lucas's apartment. Her apartment now, too, since she'd gradually moved in. Daddy called in a complete panic. Harrington Global is threatening a hostile takeover of his company. Lucas sat numbly on the couch, still processing his encounter with Maya. Did you know who she was? What? Cassandra's anger momentarily redirected. Maya, did you know she was Eleanor Harrington's granddaughter when you pursued me? Cassandra's eyes narrowed dangerously. Pursued you? You were practically begging for attention, coming to every industry event alone, complaining about your neglectful wife. Answer the question. Of course not. She threw her hands up dramatically. How would I know your precious schoolteacher was secretly an heiress? Though it certainly explains why she never seemed concerned about your struggling business. The implication stung because it contained a kernel of truth. Maya had never pressured him about money, had seemed content with their modest lifestyle, despite his growing ambitions. This changes everything, Cassandra continued, suddenly calculating. If she's a Harrington, the divorce settlement could be substantial. We need to approach this strategically. Lucas stared at her, seeing clearly for the first time the mercenary gleam in her eyes. There's not going to be a settlement. I'm going to fix this. Fix what? Lucas, she's vindicatively targeting your career. My family, she's the mother of my child. Lucas stood abruptly. A child I rejected. I need to make this right. Cassandra's expression hardened. You need to grow a spine? She's manipulating you with guilt. As they argued, Lucas's phone buzzed with an email notification. Thornfield Architecture, staff termination notice. He opened it with shaking hands to discover Harrington Global had purchased the bank holding his business loans and was calling them due immediately. She's not just destroying my career, Lucas whispered. She's salting the earth. While Lucas stared at his professional execution notice, across town, Maya cradled Olivia while reviewing the day's actions. The business moves had been calculated and devastating, worthy of her grandmother's legacy. Yet victory tasted hollow as she kissed her daughter's forehead. Your daddy made a terrible mistake, she whispered to the sleeping infant. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't know him. The intercom chimed softly. Ms. Harrington? We've located the information you requested about your grandmother's last meetings. Maya's attention sharpened. Bring it immediately. The document, delivered minutes later, would change everything, revealing a secret even Maya hadn't anticipated, one that would force her to choose between absolute revenge and something far more complicated. What shocking discovery will change Maya's revenge plans? Will Lucas find a way to redeem himself, or is Cassandra leading him further into destruction? Comment your predictions and subscribe for the dramatic midpoint revelation that will upend everything you thought you knew about this story. This can't be right. Maya's hands trembled as she spread the documents across her desk. Check again. Franklin shook his head. I've verified it personally. The final amendment to Eleanor's will was executed 3 days before her death, after she met with Lucas. Maya stared at the papers before her, the record of a meeting between her grandmother and husband that neither had ever mentioned. More shocking were the architectural plans bearing Lucas's signature, designs for the Harrington Foundation Children's Medical Center, with Eleanor's handwritten notes throughout. She commissioned him? Without telling me. Not just commissioned, Franklin clarified. She was mentoring him. These notes show weekly meetings spanning 6 months. Maya sank in her chair, pieces clicking into terrible place. Lucas's late nights. The secretive phone calls. His distraction during her pregnancy. He wasn't having an affair then, she whispered. He was working with my grandmother. Franklin nodded grimly. Eleanor saw potential in him. Professional potential, not personal. She was guiding his career while keeping your inheritance separate. But why the secrecy? The final page explains that. Franklin handed her an envelope with her name in Eleanor's distinctive handwriting. Inside was a letter that made Maya's blood run cold. My dearest Maya, asterisk if you're reading this, you've discovered my collaboration with Lucas. Forgive the secrecy, but I needed to determine if he loved you for yourself or for what you would inherit. Asterisk is dedication to the Children's Hospital Project, working nights and weekends without compensation, knowing only that it was my project, not yours, suggests there is more substance to the man than I initially believed. Asterisk the final test comes with my passing. I've arranged for him to learn of your inheritance only after you do. His reaction will reveal his true character. Asterisk the Children's Hospital was to be my gift to you both, his talent combined with your heart. The land has been secured, the funding approved by the board. Asterisk whatever has transpired between you, remember that revenge satisfies for a moment. Legacy endures forever. Asterisk all my love. Grandmother Maya looked up, tears streaming down her face. She was testing him. And testing you, Franklin added gently. The amendment states that the Children's Hospital Project must be completed within 1 year of her death, under the joint supervision of you and Lucas, or 30% of the inheritance reverts to charitable trusts. That's nearly $1 billion, Maya whispered. Indeed, Eleanor wanted to ensure her legacy continued through both of you, her business acumen and his creative vision, united by your shared compassion. Maya glanced at the nursery monitor where Olivia slept peacefully. The child who would inherit everything Maya was now systematically destroying. I've been using my grandmother's company to dismantle my daughter's father, Maya said, the full weight of her actions crashing down on her. Before Franklin could respond, Maya's phone lit up with an alert. Lucas Thornfield had been hospitalized after a car accident. How serious? She demanded, already reaching for her coat. Critical condition, Franklin replied, and Ms. Porter is listed as his emergency contact. Maya's face hardened with sudden clarity. Not anymore. What will Maya do now that she knows the truth? Can she save Lucas's career after systematically destroying it? Comment your predictions below and subscribe to see how this shocking revelation changes everything in the next chapter. The hospital corridor blurred as Maya rushed through it, her heart hammering against her ribs. The same hospital where she'd given birth to Olivia 6 weeks earlier now held Lucas, fighting for his life after wrapping his car around a highway barrier at midnight. I'm his wife, she told the nurse at the intensive care desk, the words feeling both foreign and undeniably true. Maya Thornfield. I'm sorry, but his fiancée is already his what? Maya's voice cut through the hushed ICU like a blade. His fiancée, repeated the nurse, checking her computer. Cassandra Porter? She's with him now. Maya's fingers curled into fists, her grandmother's emerald ring catching the fluorescent light. Check again. I am Maya Harrington Thornfield. We are legally married, and Ms. Porter is not family. The nurse's eyes widened at the Harrington name. Of course, Miss Harrington. I'll need to verify quickly. Maya's tone left no room for argument. And contact hospital administration. I want Ms. Porter removed from my husband's room. Now, within minutes, Maya was ushered toward Lucas's room, the hospital administrator himself appearing to apologize for the unfortunate misunderstanding. Through the glass partition, she could see Cassandra sitting beside Lucas's bed, her hand possessively wrapped around his. Maya paused, steeling herself before entering. Lucas lay unconscious, his face bruised and swollen, a ventilator breathing for him. Machines monitored vital signs. Tubes and wires connected him to a half-dozen medical devices. He looked smaller somehow, diminished in ways that transcended his physical injuries. "What are you doing here?" Cassandra hissed, standing as Maya entered. "I'm his wife." Maya's calm voice belied the storm within her. His only family besides her daughter. "Not for long," Cassandra smiled thinly. "The divorce papers are ready. Once he wakes up, if—" The doctor who had followed Maya and spoke gravely. "Mr. Thornfield suffered significant trauma, cerebral contusions, internal bleeding, multiple fractures. We've induced a coma to reduce brain swelling." Maya's composure cracked. "Will he recover?" "The next 48 hours are critical." The doctor glanced between the two women, clearly sensing the tension. "Perhaps I should give you both a moment to—" "That won't be necessary," Maya interrupted. Ms. Porter was just leaving. Cassandra crossed her arms. "I'm not going anywhere. Lucas and I were in an accident while he was legally intoxicated," Maya finished for her. "After what I assume was another argument about his financial collapse. Collapse that began coincidentally after you entered his life." Cassandra's face flushed. "You know nothing about us. I know everything about you." Maya's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Including your history with Harrison Wells and Dr. James Martin. Both successful men until they met you. Both left financially and emotionally devastated." The color drained from Cassandra's face. "You've been investigating me? Harrington Global has resources you can't imagine." Maya stepped closer, her voice for Cassandra alone. "The police report indicates Lucas was driving, but witness statements suggest there was a physical altercation in the vehicle before it crashed. Care to explain why you had defensive wounds on your hands when paramedics arrived?" Cassandra's eyes darted to the door. "That's absurd. I was trying to help him. Security is waiting outside." Maya continued as if Cassandra hadn't spoken. "They'll escort you from the premises. If you attempt to contact Lucas again, the police will receive an interesting file about your pattern of relationships and financial manipulations." "You can't do this," Cassandra hissed. "I already have." Maya turned to the doctor. "Ms. Porter is leaving now. My husband is to receive no visitors except myself and medical personnel." After security led a protesting Cassandra away, Maya finally allowed herself to sink into the chair beside Lucas's bed. Without an audience, her executive armor crumbled, leaving only the woman who, despite everything, couldn't bear to see him broken like this. "What happened to us, Lucas?" she whispered, gently touching his bruised hand. "When did we stop talking to each other?" Maya thought of the architectural plans in her office, the children's hospital Lucas had designed under her grandmother's guidance. The countless hours he'd spent creating something beautiful while their marriage crumbled. The cruel irony that both had been keeping secrets, both believing they were working toward their family's future. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Franklin stood in the doorway, his normally composed face etched with concern. "The doctors briefed me," he said, entering quietly. "Have you made a decision about the medical center project?" Maya looked at Lucas's unconscious form. "How can I? You can't even consent to collaborate now." "There are other architects who could complete his vision," Franklin suggested gently. "That's not what grandmother wanted." Maya shook her head. "She wanted us to build it together. His designs, my oversight, a bridge between our worlds." "The deadline isn't flexible, Maya. If construction doesn't begin within 4 months, the funding reverts to the trusts. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the weight of impossible choices. Save Lucas's reputation by revealing her grandmother's faith in him, or protect her company from a scandal if he never recovered. There's something else, Franklin added hesitantly. The police report from the accident. Lucas's blood alcohol was well above the legal limit, but they found prescription medication in his system as well. Antidepressants he began taking shortly after. After he threw me out, Maya finished, another piece of the puzzle falling into place. The man she'd married had never been perfect, but he hadn't been the monster she'd convinced herself he was these past weeks either. What do you want me to do? Franklin asked. Maya's gaze returned to Lucas, to the machines keeping him alive. Release the hospital plans to the board with Lucas's name as lead architect. Issue a statement that Harrington Global is proud to build upon Eleanor Harrington's final vision, in collaboration with Thornfield Designs. And Thornfield's debts? The loans you called in. Suspend all collection actions. Transfer them to my personal accounts. Maya's voice hardened. But keep the pressure on Westridge Development. I want Cassandra's father to understand exactly what happens when someone targets my family. As Franklin left to execute her instructions, Maya remained beside Lucas, the beeping monitors a grim reminder of how quickly life could change. She thought of Olivia, who might never know her father, of the empire she'd inherited, suddenly hollow without someone to share it with. You have to wake up, she whispered, finally allowing tears to fall. Not for me, but for our daughter, for the legacy we were supposed to build together. Outside the hospital room, rain pounded against the windows, just as it had the night Lucas had thrown her out. But this time, Maya wasn't the one left vulnerable to the storm. This time, she was the one with the power to shelter or destroy. Will Lucas wake up to face the consequences of his actions? Can Maya find a way to honor her grandmother's wishes without compromising her own heart? Comment your predictions below and subscribe to witness the turning point that will determine whether redemption is possible for this broken family. On the third day of Lucas's coma, Maya established a new routine. Mornings at Harrington Global, afternoons at the hospital with Lucas, evenings with Olivia in the penthouse. Sleep came in fractured intervals between Olivia's feedings and the constant ping of urgent messages from the board. Maya was reviewing hospital blueprints at Lucas's bedside when his fingers twitched against hers. Lucas! She leaned forward, scarcely daring to hope. Can you hear me? His eyelids fluttered, then opened, unfocused at first, then sharpening with recognition. The ventilator prevented him from speaking, but the machines registered his accelerated heart rate. Maya pressed the call button, and within moments, the room filled with medical staff. She stepped back, watching as they examined him, removed the breathing tube, conducted quick neurological assessments. The word miracle floated through their clinical exchanges. When they finally left them alone, Lucas stared at her with bloodshot eyes. Why are you here? His voice was a raw whisper. Maya approached cautiously. Because you nearly died. You hate me. It wasn't a question, but a statement of what he believed to be fact. I wanted to. Maya sank into the chair beside his bed. For a while, I convinced myself I did. Lucas turned his face away, wincing at the movement. Where's Cassandra? Gone. Maya's tone left no room for elaboration. And if she's smart, she'll stay that way. Silence stretched between them, filled only by the steady beeping of monitors. Finally, Lucas spoke again. I saw the news. The children's hospital project. His voice cracked. Why did you release my designs? Because they're brilliant, Maya answered simply. And because my grandmother believed in you. Lucas's eyes glistened with sudden tears. Eleanor knew I'd fail you. She warned me that my ambition would destroy us if I didn't balance it with wisdom. She also saw something in you worth nurturing. Maya opened her portfolio, removing the letter from Eleanor. She was testing both of us. Lucas read the letter with trembling hands, his expression crumbling with each line. All those nights I was working on a project, you thought that you were with Cassandra. Maya finished for him, Just as you believe my visits to grandmother meant I was unfaithful. We stopped talking. Lucas handed the letter back, his face etched with regret. Somewhere along the way, we stopped trusting each other. Maya nodded, the truth of his words settling between them. I bring Olivia to the office every day. The board thinks I'm insane, but I refuse to miss another minute of her life because of work. Lucas swallowed hard. Olivia, how is she? Instead of answering, Maya took out her phone, showing him photos of their daughter, sleeping, yawning, grasping Maya's finger with her tiny hand. She has your eyes, Maya said softly, and your stubborn chin. Lucas stared at the images, naked longing on his face. I threw away everything that mattered. Yes, Maya agreed, refusing to soften the truth. You did. I don't deserve forgiveness. His voice dropped to a whisper. I don't even deserve to see her. Maya studied him, this broken version of the man she'd once loved with complete abandon. The ambitious architect who'd swept her off her feet, now humbled by his own failings. Perhaps not, she conceded. But Olivia deserves to know her father, if he's worthy of her. Hope flickered in Lucas's eyes. What does that mean? It means I'm not the only one you need to make amends to. Maya stood. Rest today. Tomorrow, there are decisions to make. The headlines splashed across the financial news the next morning. Harrington heiress revolutionizes family business with humanitarian focus. Maya's announcement of the Children's Hospital as Harrington Global's new flagship project had sent shockwaves through the business community. The accompanying profile revealed what few had known. Her years as a teacher in underserved communities, her rejection of her inheritance until her grandmother's death, her determination to merge profit with purpose. What the article didn't mention was Lucas, though his architectural designs featured prominently in the digital renderings. The board is split, Diana reported as they walked toward Lucas's hospital room. Half see this as brilliant brand positioning. The others think you're squandering resources on sentiment. Grandmother always said a divided board is a healthy board. Maya paused outside Lucas's door. Any update on Cassandra? She tried accessing Lucas's apartment yesterday. Security intercepted her. Diana hesitated. She was carrying documents, what appeared to be pre-dated agreements giving her authority over his business decisions if he became incapacitated. Maya's eyes narrowed. Forgery, almost certainly. We've turned everything over to the prosecutor's office. Good. Maya's voice hardened. In her father's company? The takeover concludes tomorrow. He'll retain his position as a figurehead, but control transfers to Harrington Global. Maya nodded. Have legal prepare severance packages for all senior staff, except Mr. Porter. I want new leadership that understands ethical business practices. As Diana departed, Maya took a deep breath before entering Lucas's room. She found him sitting up, stronger than yesterday, reviewing documents spread across his bed. Your assistant brought these, he explained. The complete children's hospital plans. Do you feel up to discussing them? I've been doing nothing but thinking about them. Lucas set aside the papers. Maya, I need to say something, and I need you to really hear me. The intensity in his voice gave her pause. I am listening. I was weak, he began, holding her gaze. Weak when Cassandra targeted me. Weak when she planted doubts about you. Weak when my business was failing and I couldn't admit it. I chose pride over truth, ego over family. He continued, his voice growing stronger with each word. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I want to earn back the right to be in Olivia's life. To show her that people can change, can become better than their worst mistakes. And us? Maya asked quietly. What do you want there? What I want doesn't matter. Lucas's humility was something she'd never witnessed before. What matters is what you need. If that's divorce, I'll sign the papers today. If it's co-parenting from separate lives, I'll respect whatever boundaries you set. Maya moved to the window, looking out at the city stretching before them. A city where their daughter would grow up, where their names carried weight and history. There's something I need to show you, she said finally, turning back to him. Can you walk? With Maya's assistance, Lucas made his slow, painful way to a wheelchair. She guided him to the elevator, up to the hospital's rooftop garden, a peaceful oasis above the city's bustle. Waiting for them was Diana, holding a bundled Olivia. Lucas's breath caught, his entire body tensing as Maya took their daughter and approached him. "This is your father, Olivia," Maya said softly, lowering the baby into Lucas's trembling arms. As Lucas held his daughter for the first time, something broke open between them. Not forgiveness, not yet, but the possibility of a new beginning built on harder-won wisdom. "Hello, little one," Lucas whispered, tears streaming unashamedly down his face. "I'm so sorry I wasn't there when you arrived, but I promise you this. I will spend the rest of my life becoming someone worthy of being your father." Maya watched them together, her own eyes wet. The path forward remained uncertain, strewn with the wreckage of broken trust and painful memories. But as Olivia curled her tiny fingers around her father's thumb, Maya recognized the first fragile bridge spanning the chasm between their past and whatever future they might build. What choice will Maya make about her marriage? Can Lucas truly change, or will his past mistakes continue to haunt their family? Comment your predictions below and subscribe to see the climactic resolution of this emotional journey in our next chapter. 3 months later, the Children's Hospital groundbreaking ceremony brought the city's elite to witness the Harrington Thornfield legacy taking physical form. Maya stood at the podium, poised and powerful. Today marks not just a new building, but a new beginning. As she spoke, her eyes found Lucas in the front row, holding Olivia. His recovery had been grueling, physically and professionally. He'd rebuilt his reputation from nothing, working tirelessly on the hospital designs while living in a modest apartment across from the penthouse. Each day, he proved himself through actions, not promises. "Sometimes we must lose everything to understand what truly matters," Maya continued, her voice carrying across the hushed crowd. The moment was shattered by Cassandra's sudden appearance, pushing through security. "This should have been mine," she screamed, lunging toward Lucas and the baby. Lucas didn't hesitate. He shielded Olivia with his body as security intercepted Cassandra, her unhinged accusations revealing the full extent of her manipulation. That night, as police took Cassandra away for psychiatric evaluation, Maya made her decision. Standing in Lucas's simple apartment, she placed her wedding ring on the table between them. "I can't go backward," she said quietly. Lucas nodded, accepting her verdict with dignity. "But perhaps," Maya continued, "we can go forward together. Will Maya and Lucas find their way back to love? Comment below and subscribe for the emotional conclusion of this journey from betrayal to redemption. 1 year later, the Harrington Children's Medical Center gleamed in the morning sun, its innovative design drawing architects and humanitarian organizations from around the world. On the rooftop garden, a private ceremony unfolded far from public eyes. "I still can't believe you chose here," Lucas whispered, watching Maya walk toward him in a simple ivory dress, Olivia toddling beside her in matching white. "It seemed fitting," Maya replied, "where we truly began again." Their journey back to each other hadn't been easy. Trust rebuilt slowly through separate homes, co-parenting schedules, and midnight conversations that gradually healed old wounds. Lucas had refused to reclaim his position at Harrington Global until he'd earned it independently, his hospital design winning international awards. Maya had transformed her grandmother's empire with a compassion that balanced its power. Together, they'd created something neither could have built alone. "The papers called it the billion-dollar revenge story," Maya said, taking Lucas's hands. But revenge wasn't our ending. As they exchanged new vows, wiser, stronger promises, Olivia clapped delightedly between them. Later, as they signed their new marriage certificate, Lucas smiled at the name Maya chose to write. Maya Harrington Thornfield, not a wife reclaimed, but a partnership reforged, stronger at its broken places than it had ever been before. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more emotional journeys of redemption and second chances. Comment below with what part of Maya and Lucas's story resonated with you most.